1976. I was a swap meet kid. I was one of those kids that was running around swap meet, selling furniture with my dad. Because I was telling my brother, yeah, 30 years of this and that. He's like, no. We go way back. And he reminded me we started in La Mirada. So I'm a La Mirada kid. I didn't realize it at the time, but I'd like time to talk about it. So my advocacy, as I mentioned, small business. My dad is something my dad taught me. So I got my expertise working with small business when Prop 209 in California started. So for those of you who don't know what California Prop 209 is when affirmative action ended in California. So what people are going through now, we did way back in 1986. So what that advocacy started because we wanted to find out, as a big corporation that worked at Xerox, Franklin Airmark, how do we work with small business? How do we incorporate more businesses that are local? So with that expertise grew and grew over the years, and then all of a sudden I became the go-to person, right? How do we now incorporate the Olympics, FIFA, and the Super Bowl and be more inclusive? So with that, I'm working closely right now with the lady who's running FIFA. We're looking for vendors, and she already told me we cannot find vendors to help us with FIFA, which seems a little bit insane. So how can you not find vendors to help out with FIFA? So we're working with that, and then also working with the same different organization that runs the Super Bowl. Again, they only have so far 250 vendors to help them with the Super Bowl. Again, doesn't make sense. What do you mean you can't find them? So what I'm doing, and I promised to John, is that we're launching a program called SoCal Wins. And that program is really related to tying everything together into one big umbrella. And of course my partner in crime, John here from SoCal Growth Partners, agreed to help me out to kind of grow this, right? So as part of Small Business Week, for those of you who don't know, this is Small Business Week. So we're launching it, and we're launching it here in La Mirada, right? So I'm announcing it officially here. First, before I let anybody else know, that SoCal Wins is working, it's functional, and you can actually go in there and register. So easy to remember, SoCalWins.org. We're on pretty much every Facebook, Instagram, but primarily the website is functioning and allows you to go in there and figure out, because we want to make sure we guide people through the process. So Tammy and I had a sidebar, because I know John and Tammy have been talking about doing some training. So we're going to be look for some training to show you the process of working with both hospitals, the local government, and hospitals, government, and local government. Because I think a lot of people, when they think the word government, they think federal. Well, federal's too big. La Mirada wants to help small business. John Kirk and Ramon. You guys want to help small business in the community, correct? So do your neighbors, Norwalk. So do all of your cities around here spend money. They spend money with big corporations because small business doesn't call on them. So, and I tell you that firsthand because when I used to work at Granger, we called on all the small cities and we would ask them, when was the last time you saw a small business? And their answer was never. They don't call on us because they think we're too big. But they buy, the average city in this area spends about $1,500 every nanosecond. Think about that number, $1,500. It doesn't sound like a lot, but $1,500 every nanosecond? That's insane. That should be going to small business. So a lot of the programs that are in and around the cities around here, and I don't know what the delegated authority around here is, but that number is probably around $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. And these cities, like, I'm going to pick a big city like Long Beach. Long Beach can spend up to $25,000 with one single quote. One quote from one company. And I asked the people in Long Beach, they're like, nobody calls on us, Jack. Nobody knows that we could spend one-on-one. So that's part of the training that we're going to talk about with Tammy and the group about how do we educate the communities to start thinking outside the box. Be open to working with your city. Be open to working with your neighboring city. Because I heard landscaping, cities spend a lot of money in landscaping all the time. They spend money on marketing. Is anybody here in insurance?
Rick?
One.
I'm sorry.
they're actually the city, I think the city of LA or with Inglewood, we're looking for consultants to help them with insurance to understand what's available to them now. Real estate, the one that's shocking was real estate. Metro was looking for real estate. And I'm like, what is Metro doing? Well, they're selling their properties that they have excess of. So a lot of it is we don't know because we think it's government. Well, government is not federal. Government is your local, the Almorados of the world, the Santa Fe Springs, the Whittiers. So your communities around here spend money. But they don't, because small business doesn't call on them, they just spend money with the big Grinches of the world or the Office Depots of the world. So we got to find a way as small businesses to unite and actually figure out how we tap into those doors. Hospitals. So are there any women-owned businesses here? Hospitals are required to spend 25% of their budget with women-owned businesses. Did you guys hear that? 25% of their budget has to be spent with with women-owned businesses. So that implies also to LGBTQ, women, and minorities. 25% of several hundreds of millions of dollars is a lot. And the number one complaint right now is they cannot find small businesses to work with. So we got to figure out how to play the game. So it really, at the end of the day, that's what we're going to be teaching. We're going to be covering a lot of material. Look for this material. Please, please, please take a moment, go to SoCalWins.org, register yourself, and then we're going to start the ball moving as we work closer with Tammy and the Chamber to schedule. I think we'll probably talk about once a quarter. We'll probably schedule training to help you understand how this process works. And so you know that it's not new. I've been doing the class I'm talking to Tammy about 75 times. So over the last 7 years, I've done the same class with other agencies outside of this area. Primarily civic, so downtown area, downtown LA, Long Beach, the west side, but La Mirada is missing. And I know when John, your mayor, and I were talking, I'm like, what are we doing? You're the hub between two counties. Let's find a way to bring some of this information into La Mirada so that we can now lead the charge in the region. Who's now aware that Anaheim has a venue for the Olympics? Anybody aware of that? I see one hand shaking. 2, 3. Anaheim picked up a venue for the Olympics. Anaheim doesn't know this. I'm like, how do you not know this? Who's negotiating here, right? So I think that's where the opportunity for all of us is that these opportunities are in our backyard. And we've got to figure out how to get through this process. So that's what I'll be teaching. That's what we'll be covering. I know John and Tammy and I will work out the date of when we're going to be scheduling the class. Highly recommend that you attend, you show up, and be prepared to do some homework. Yeah, Jackie was at homework. One last question. Who here has a resume for their business? I only see 3 hands going up. So you might think a resume, it's called a capability statement. So you have that, right?
Yeah.
So a capability statement is a resume for your business. So if you're going to call on the government, guess what you need? You need a resume for your business. So then that's what the capability statement is for. And this class that we're going to talk about actually not only show you how to do it, we actually give you a template so you actually do it. So we don't just walk into the water and say good luck. No, we say here's the water, drink some, but here's the work that you need so you can actually present it to Tammy's of the world, to the Johns of the world, and say here's what our companies do. So we want to help level up your business, and this is how we're going to do it. I'm trying to think I covered everything. So FIFA 26, Super Bowl 27, and then Olympics in 28. It's going to be a little bit chaotic during the Olympics based on what I'm hearing about what's going to happen in traffic. You got 18 million people coming to LA County. They got to go somewhere. They got to stay somewhere. La Mirada will see some of that going to come. They're going to want to stay in your hotels, which means opportunities in our community. But you have to get ahead of the game. So again, I'm going to recommend again, look out for the email from Tammy. We're going to be doing some training, and then we're going to be updating everybody on, we'll probably start with like a short presentation on the kind of like the overall projects that are coming, because I think that'll be important. I know tomorrow John and I are going to be presenting that on a national level, but I think I would love to be able to do that for you as a kind of like a launch point. So any questions that are burning about any up and coming world events to the region. Any hot questions you guys might have? Go.
Do you have a list of what the vendor needs are?
Yes, I have that list. I have the list of what they're looking for. So then I wouldn't surprise you. Most of you are going to be on that list. The only one that might not be on the list is going to be insurance, maybe real estate, but some of the other categories are in there. So there is an actually active list. Any other burning questions? Yes, sir.
Have you heard anything about the 250-year history of the United States of America and the celebrations supposed to happen too?
Oh, the 250-year celebration?
Yeah.
So the only one that I've heard about is the one in Boston, for obvious reasons, but that's the only one I've heard of so far. I know that I want to say San Diego's probably doing something big. I think LA with the $1 billion shortfall they have, they're probably not going to do anything. So you're going to have to look at some of the surrounding cities that are probably going to be doing something. So I would look at maybe leading the charge and doing something in this region, and then collaborating with some of the surrounding cities. So I think if we find a way to magnetize us together, then that's where, kind of like the run, where we're starting to let's collaborate. Let's start working together as a region. I think that helps us to kind of grow. So I think that's a good idea. I know Boston doing something. Because I know my buddies are like, Jack, you coming? I don't want to go, but I don't know, Boston's, what, like 5-hour flight? Yeah, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to get planned that long. Any other burning questions?
Yeah, can you repeat the website?
Yeah, SoCalWins.org. SoCalWins.org. We're good?
What is coming to Anaheim, she wants to know.
I'm sorry?
The Olympics, what is coming to Anaheim Olympics?
So it's going to be badminton. So because they're venue, you know how their stadium is that kind of like a U
Which stadium?
at the Honda Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, basically when we all know when you get to the Honda Center, you bum leave the person in front of you. That's why they're doing it out, because it's the only place that has pretty much 90-degree seats. Any other questions? No? We're good?
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much.